Good evening, everybody, and welcome on in to Division 2. It is round 3 of Season 7 in Japan, of course. Division 1 raced last night, and of course, Division 2 is going to be the very next night. Our doubleheader in Japan is almost complete. One last qualifying session, one last half-distance Grand Prix to take us into next week, which will be all the way over in Austin, and then of course off to Mexico for the very next week, and then the week after that it is Brazil, of course. And one shot full qualifying there, followed by Imola, then our second trip to the States in Las Vegas, then Qatar, Abu Dhabi, our final trip to the States, and maybe the Mystery Grand Prix. I still aren't quite sure what is happening there. And of course, well, it is tight at the top. 2 points separating first and third, but the top two on even points: Energetic, Pleasant Stake, and Quincy in that order. Salvi, after a couple of excellent drives to get his season underway, is looking at 4th place. And if he gets an excellent result tonight, he's then in the mix. What can he do from that position? Moksha rounds out your top 5. Race Chase, Toby, Kovacic, Dage David, and Tarkangino rounding out your top 10, followed by Tabran, Skid Solo, Rolly, Sir Iber, and Truckster. Not had a great time of it in Division 1. Can he finally turn things around in Division 2? Then it's Red Dog, ADS, Bruiser, Fellow Son, or Mr. Cloudsan, and Cranchorg. And in your constructor standings, well, it's not really much to separate much of anything. Your top 4 separated by 18 points, with Mercedes, Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Williams there. And of course, if Haas can find a way to get Salvi up in the points, they could be there as well, but they are currently lying 5th, 9 points behind the British team in front of them. Then it's Alpine, Racing Bulls, Red Bull, McLaren rounding out the rest of the points, and the only team not to score this season is Sauber. And then of course, I think that is a very different last time graphic, so we will bring that up again when we are ready. Why am I in a car? Did I forget to do the thing? I must have done. Hang on a moment. Let's go back to the calendar. Let's get Herman on the line, because I think I have some work to do. Herman, hello there. Welcome to the stream. Not quite the way I wanted to.
I didn't know you wanted to drive today. That was perfect.
What can I say? I thought it was going to be a hot one today, and so it was just. I just felt the need to go out on track. But anyway, the qualifying session is now underway. The problem is solved, and I apparently forgot to press F2, even though I could have sworn I did it. But apparently I didn't. But Herman, good evening to you. Welcome on in. And, well, it is going to be an exciting race. It is going to be a long, hot Suzuka race. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome our viewers and obviously the drivers to the Club Dance DJ show of tonight's Suzuka GP of SSRL Division 2. And we are once again in what is called a very wet inter-qualifying session for tonight. And yeah, looking forward to this, as we have 16 drivers to take on this very interesting track for tonight.
Absolutely. And of course, well, it's not 16, technically 15, because I was obviously accidentally I'm accidentally there, so I don't know. I really hope that doesn't cause any problems going forward. I'm a bit worried about that now, because I feel like a right idiot for not pressing the F2 button. But anyway, yes, of course, we are going to be...
you have to leave then before the race. I
All
think
right,
you
then.
can go
back
into the lobby and then spectate then from there.
Yeah, I think I'll have to.
So, gonna shoot you an invite and then
yes, okay then. So I will do that.
Press F2 before you join, and then it should be fine.
Well, I'll tell you what then. While I'm doing that then, and when you've got the invites out, when you get the invite out,
yep.
do you want to I want to kind of ask you, what was it like qualifying in the wet here last night, during last night's race? Of course, you raced in Division 1. You were oh so close to the podium, but just missed out. So do you just want to kind of go through what the qualifying was like in the wet, and then how you made up places in the race?
Yeah, qualifying in the wet was way better for me compared to the previous 2 races. I think that was a very interesting dynamic on what to race for wings on this track. There were some very interesting setups going around that were mostly focused on a very pointy front end, and that obviously helps in the wet, but it's not really my driving style, so I was trying to compromise a lot, and I found a rhythm just before the race. And I even did a full practice race just hours before, so
When
I
you're
was
ready.
quite in the groove. But sorry.
Well, when you're ready for the invite, I'm not getting it.
Oh yeah, I sent one already. Let me retry that for you. There is another one coming your way now.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there was a lot of compromise on how much downforce we want to run, because obviously first sector is going to be huge in terms of to get away from people. There's only one DS zone. The best overtaking opportunity isn't even turn 1 or 2. It's into the last chicane of I think that's 15 and 16. So yeah, you really want to maximize exits. You want to maximize spoon. You need high speed. And with that, obviously higher downforce compared to most of the tracks we're currently racing on. Overall downforce levels have decreased. And yeah, I was surprised how many people were actually running that much over the expected for me. So after that, just trying to get in the groove, fix mistakes from previous qualifying, staying out as long as I could. As Quincy says, the first time of a 41.6. And some people have already spun inside of the first sector, so they need to be coming to grips with the track soon, or they're going to be in trouble, because you need to get into the ribbon. After that, it was quite tough to pass people, stay with the group. The start wasn't great. Quincy sent it on Ryan. I was blocked. Then other people who were a bit slower were stuck in a faster train, and without the DS train, you can't really catch. And I was lucky that the safety car saved me, because from my test there was more fuel usage compared to, was more fuel usage in the Grand Prix yesterday. Skizzola over the line is going to be jumping into P6 as we just concluded the first 8 laps here for drivers. And after that was trying to stay with the guys, managing rears especially to get the best exits you can. And then some people made mistakes. I could get back into the ribbon, and there was an opportunity on Andrew a couple of laps before the end, but that was not worth it. And then I set it for 4th. So patience was the name of the game, and obviously trying to cope with the huge amount of dirty air inside of the first sector. So if it's gonna be wet again for the full race, just like we saw 7 days ago, people are gonna be enjoying hopefully a good starting position, because if you're not, then anything but mistakes from other drivers will put you in better positions. I don't think there's going to be huge amounts of overtakes on like pure racing aspects. So that's the one to look out for. Quincy improved his lap time as his rival in Pleasant Snake. Energetic has not set a time either, so one of his rivals is going across the line now, and he is putting it into first with half a second already. Track Evolution is going to be the name of the game. You need to be as close as you can to 0.00 before we close out the qualifying session, and have your last lap time put in as late as you can, because Track Evolution as Race Chase is next, currently in the side of the second sector. What do you make of these early laps so far?
Well, obviously it is early laps, as you say, so there's not really much of a representation, but already Salvi is proving to be rather quick. Pleasant Snake is already the quickest of the bunch there, but of course Quincy is kind of a bit further down than I would have thought, potentially, because he should have been... I would have expected him to have just been under half a second on these early impressions, but it looks like Snake is best of the rest. Now, we still have 4 drivers that we are waiting for, and Race Chase we are watching right now. Just a little bit of something for you, just while you were focusing on your stuff. Fellow Son was actually impeded by, it was Sir Ibo on his lap, so he's definitely got more time to find, and Fellow Son was weaving his car down the start-finish straight there in frustration, so I do think Fellow Son will be one to look out for, and he was heavily impeded, and that's why he's nearly 1.7 seconds away from the pole time. So let's see how that goes as the qualifying concludes even. But Race Chase now up to 8th place with a 1:42.7. Time to find for the American driver, I would imagine. Just kind of comparing on his previous performance from last week. Let's see. Yeah, so got in 10th place for qualifying, but was able to find 3 positions and then finished 7th place. So I do think Race Chase is going from strength to strength, but then as soon as I say that, he's up in 3/10 in Sector 1, so maybe his pace is not done just yet. He's just gone down to 9th after Tark and Gino. I think it was him improved there, or it was Truckster. Sorry, Truckster.
And Truckster.
I somehow missed his time go purple there on the race control there, but I'm actually going to be watching Race Chase for this lap because he's still improving after setting that first lap. So like I thought, he did have time to find, and he's finding it now as he goes through Sector 2, through the spoon curves here, which are 13 and 14. And on the exit, well, the straight line, well, the Sector 2 timing line is currently down this straight, so we'll be approaching that in a few moments' time. I'm really interested to see where he is. That's 1.3 seconds, so yeah, I think that was more of a warm-up lap from the Racing Bulls driver, but oh, very wide through 130R. His car goes up in the air, kind of. It flipped up there like it wants to do a wheelie. And unfortunately for Race Chase, that will be the end of his flyer, or will it? He's going to continue on. Won't be a quick one, however, but it is a 1:41.6, and it is still 1 second faster than his previous personal best. But somehow, a wheelie F1 car is still able to improve, even though that's not really the use it was for. I didn't know F1 cars could fly.
Yeah, there's a famous stat that always comes up if you play the game, and that they have enough downforce to drive upside down in a tunnel. So, yeah, there was limits tested now by Race Chase at the exit of the 140R corner, as Quincy now improves to a 39.1, and Energetic has been watched by me closely throughout this lap. He's not really pushing to the limit, so trying to get a groove on with 8.5 minutes, you have the need to be in a position where you have some laps on the board, and obviously burned you through enough and are ready for that final few moments, and don't need to pit again. You can obviously, but getting in the groove of the car, and these tires usually start to graze basically into the track, and you kind of feel the improvement overall quite heavily inside of this year's game. So I'm expecting to see a good time coming later into the session. His first one is gonna be enough to breach into the 39s, but there's still some time to be found, as also Pleasant Lake is again out on a lap, and there's someone stricken in the final chicane, and it was the teammate of Snake, and that is Skid Solo, making way for other drivers, including both of the Williamses, and there's a V-Cup, so there's Race Chase again. Was probably going to be recharging on that lap and trying to push again soon. One driver I wanted to highlight today is ADS. I think after what you just described in the intro to our viewers about the Constructors' Championship, there's a notable point that ADS has not scored in the first 2 races. What's your take on his performance so far, and how do you think he can maybe bounce back on a track that is tough to pass and needs some endurance, as you might say, on this 50% race for tonight?
Well, as Truckster there goes to the line, and he's already now up, so he's definitely contending for pole position tonight, just to kind of give you a comparison to Truckster. Qualified 3rd place, so can definitely be within this top 3 in Division 2, but needs to really try and finish a race. He's currently between the 2 divisions, 3 DNFs in a row. So, of course, he didn't finish last week in Division 2, didn't finish this week in Division 1, and hoping that does not continue into tonight. But he is currently on a DNF streak. But anyway, as Herman's question, back to the relevant information at hand, ADS here has honestly been below my personal expectations here. He really hasn't quite lit up the field alight like I thought he would. He had just a few races in Season 6 in this, I think it was in this division or Division 1, and he's just not quite put it together for the time being at the moment. Now, of course, there are plenty of races to get things back to where they are, but I just wonder if the wet qualifying is just not suitable for Quincy's teammate here, and we'll see what happens. But of course, I think he really does need to try and find something, and I just don't quite know what that is, to be honest with you, because obviously I do more of the commentating rather than the driving. I mean, I'm a commentator Monday to Friday evenings. Unfortunately, I don't get as much time to drive, but energetic there through Degner 1, invalidates his lap going into the gravel. Goodness me, a bit too hot. A Snake there goes up into the 138.6s now, so his best of the rest for now. But of course, Trek Evolution is going to be doing its bit, but Race Chase is continuing on, but Energetic is continuing on, but sadly this lap is invalidated. He'll have to go again, and Race Chase now is up into 6th place. I think he just set a 140.0, and yeah, he's down in Sector 1. So this is a recharge lap for the Racing Bulls driver. But Salvi is another one. Keep an eye on him. The debut here, his debut season, and has performed very well so far. 6th in round 1 in the qualifying, 4th in the race. Then went qualified and 7th place, and then converted the race into 5th place there. So wherever he's qualified, he has improved, and he's put on some good pace, and he's 4th in the Drivers' Championship today. He wants to be ahead of Moksha, but maybe if there's a shock on the way, he can get up into that top 3, and he is completing his lap now. That is 1.334 seconds he has improved upon, and he's flat through 130R. And now through the Casio Triangle, he locks up rather heavily. That's a bit wide, so his exit will be really affected here. Is it going to be enough to put on a personal best? He's got 4 more minutes to try something more, and that is 2nd place there. If it wasn't for that final corner, I think that would have been pole position. But Salvi again, from strength to strength, week to week, is up, and away. Herman, that's impressive from the debut.
Yeah, he needs to be aware that there's, as I said before, still 4 minutes. That's roughly 2.5 laps before you need to be in position to go for the final time. Moksha's currently on another improvement. Had a rather rough experience yesterday into the hairpin. He almost completed a lockup he had from yesterday inside of a dry race. And yeah, obviously, Saibi is really impressive. He's filling that best of the rest slot perfectly, and he wasn't, I think, a driver anyone was looking for. But as you said before, I think ADS was someone that looked like, and I think he was completing his Season 6 races in Division 2, where he was in these positions. I remember the Saudi race at one stage before I had my pit stop, and we had I had the race against Ryan there. They were, I think ADS and Quincy were both in a position to be in the top 5. And I noticed that he made quite a charge through the field, but then didn't convert it again at a crash. He hasn't finished both of the races so far, so there's something inside of the races that is missing, as Moksha goes to his 39.1. Is currently half a second off the pace from Pleasant Snake, as he now needs a lap probably to recharge, at least, as Energetic goes to top with a 10th over Pleasant Snake and Aston Martin, and Quincy is still a bit out there, but don't let the times be through you. There's still a lot of time to be found. Even 1 more second inside of the last 60 seconds can be found. So everyone needs to be out there, needs to be in a good space to complete laps. Don't get dirty up from drivers in front. So yeah, there's also Race Chase who improves again. That is also 38.7. So yeah, I think Truckstar, Quincy, also Fellison will be out there soon and trying to improve maybe on 1 or 2 more laps, as we now are at the 2-minute warning basically. And we're seeing quite a fight for the first position, as it's very much needed. Passing is difficult and dirty air is not enjoyable, so you need to be out there and try and improve as much as you can right now. And Salvi is also one to look out for once again.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just looking at fellow son there, but has just messed up the spoon curve, so we'll have to probably abandon that. There's a Williams behind him. That will be of, I think that is Kvachka. It is not. It is Kvachka's teammate Moksha there, who, of course, we just saw complete his flying lap. I'm just trying to get the times up from yesterday, as just to see in comparison. But every time Pleasant Snake has gone to pole, he has usually beaten the time from yesterday's race. Now, of course, he's currently on a pole streak as well. Pleasant Snake took pole in both round 1 and round 2, but it was round 2 where he converted it into a win. And of course, the thing is, Energetic and Snake are currently the 2 guys that are on even points. That will not be the case tonight, unless if they both suffer a retirement. And Quincy there just on 3rd, but he's consistent. He's got 2 second places in the first 2 rounds, so that is why he is high up as well and is up there right with the contenders. And it's just really, we can't tell you where this is going to go, as now Salvi's coming to the line there and pole position. But remember, as Herman said, that there will be more time, and I think Salvi has just timed that a little too early, and so several drivers will be on a final flying lap, and Herman is rightfully agreeing with me, as he should. And now, as we continue on, fellow son is just going through the hairpin as well. He should have another lap inside of him. He's got more, well, he's got 15 seconds, so this will be his last one couple of drivers currently at the Casio Triangle, ADS being one of them. And as ADS left this a little too late, there's a Red Bull ahead of him. That'll be of Chugster 3, 2. Oh, just by the skin of his teeth there. He will be the last one across the line. And Chugster's not too far ahead at all. Here we go then. So Fellow Sun is going to be the first to complete the time. And unfortunately, you don't really want to be first in these conditions. Track Evolution in these wet conditions favors the car that is last across the line. And of course, we all know who that went to. So the McLaren is going to be the first to complete a lap. Let's see what he can do. He's going to go from 9th to pole position, but is that going to remain that way? I don't think so. But Moksha doesn't really improve much further. Energetic is next, and he's to pole with a 1:37.7. There you go. That's more like it. Snake is not next. It'll be his teammate Skid Solo who goes into the pits. He does not improve, so his lap must have been must have been the best as we got to that point. Kavachka is next. 10th place for him, and then I think that's one of the other Red Bulls across the line there. That was Toby, unable to improve. Then Salvi is next, but he's into the pit lane, so no further improvements for him. Tarkangino should be the next driver across the line. He will be. He's going to keep going, and it's going to be 10th place there. So a few swaps happening there as Race Chase goes up into second, but Pleasant Snake is still going. A few drivers are still going. Actually, obviously, ADS will be the last one across the line there. In fact, the two Tifosis are sharing the same track as Fellow Sun also gets in there. As then Snake takes pole, as we expected. But what does Trugster have at the line? Pole position as well. But wait, we still have a Ferrari. And, well, invalidated is Quincy. But ADS goes to 9th. And he was the final one there. But in the end, Trugster, with his first pole position in Division 2 in Season 7, takes it at the death, which is what we were expecting. Herman, that was quite an intense end to qualifying.
Yeah, that was quite expected from the track evolution. So yeah, I'm surprised that Fellason has stayed with, but you have to say that Quincy, only 2,000 of a second away from his teammate there, and he has some work to do. And yeah, that was obviously not great. Has lost it at the Dunlop curb up the hill out of the S sections and brought out a yellow flag. So yeah, that was only, especially for our top two currently, who are, as I said, equal on points. In the fight, but then Truckster snapped it away at the last second.
Herman, you know what it's time for?
Tell me.
Wait a moment. I'll tell you.
Yeah, okay. No, please don't tell me. That is so unfortunate for Truckster. That is so unfortunate for Truckster. You done him dirty. Oh no. That is crazy. And this time you even had to say it before. That is... Yeah, if you're missing context right now, Dave is allowed to reverse the grid once again for one race inside of the season, and he has chosen to do again on a race where Truckster has taken pole position. So, yeah. That is a tough watch for Truckster today.
Just so you know, we've got... What happens? Wank. I know that word is not safe for broadcast.
So,
oh, we've completely lost it in the commentary booth. Just so you know, oh goodness me. I don't know if it's going to count though, because I didn't let anybody know, so I don't know if this is actually going to count.
Yeah, Quincy left the session.
Okay, so we'll there we go. Everybody's leaving. Okay.
Also, Moksha is quite upset. Oh no, my best quality of the season.
Yeah,
but the best thing is to do it right now, because I think you would have still to retire the AI you excellently set on track. So we're good on that end. I think that's good timing for that.
Shanghai, so Energetic is trying to find a loophole here. Shanghai, it's Japan so invalid?
No, I think you just copied the text, no?
Yeah, I copied it. I just copied the text.
Truckster hits you with the. Oh man.
Yeah. What's happened? And well, Tarkantino has
Damn.
no clue what's happened either. This is causing massive chaos. And
Again,
yeah.
I send you an invite this time, so
Yes, thank you very
can
much.
make sure to press F2.
Yeah, I will do. Don't worry about that. But anyway, yeah, massive
Massive
massive.
upset with Truckster.
This time I pressed F2. I pressed F2, right? We're making. Why are we
Yeah,
racing
the
in Australia?
icon in green.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So everybody, we're fine. We're doing well. We're doing very well indeed.
I'm living in a simulation. Truckster can't believe his luck.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep. So
Yeah, we are not called silly season for nothing. So
exactly.
enjoy, Truckster. Cheers to that.
Anyway, we're trying to keep composure here in the commentary box, so we're failing massively. So I just want to let you know that while we're doing this, you can actually go to the pool and you can actually blow some bubbles. I hear they're made of 90% water, Herman, and also you can buy some shaved ice in the stall next to it. So just so you know.
Yeah, I will try to keep that in mind. And later I will go to the club dance DJ show. It's most important. Snake is losing it as well.
Yep, as I can see why. By the way, we have simulation
going for the
game.
report.
After it.
Herman, is it possible for you to record on RLT? I may need to leave early, possibly.
I'm already doing. Always backup recording.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Quincy.
Enjoy.
That's one
I
thing.
think Quincy, out of the top guys, has gotten away with something, yeah.
I think so.
But obviously, it's gonna be fun with with Ibo.
So yeah, Suribo's on pole.
Ibo, Skid Solo, Kovachka, Rolly is our first two rows.
Woohoo! We have an upset in qualifying, and I did also take a screenshot for you, so I can actually confirm what the grid will be. And yes, it will be Suribo, Skid Solo, Kovachka, and Rolly round on the first two rows. And for Rolly, well, I just kind of want to brush around him very quickly because, like, Rolly is actually quite quick. So if anything, this reverse grid will be advantageous towards him, and he might be in for a good result today. And obviously, there's going to be 27 laps, so he's got a lot of work to do still. And those guys at the back will make their way through the field. That is an inevitability. Even with the tough overtaking, I doubt they're going to be there. I'd say we'll be looking at a somewhat normal or usual grid by about, I would say about lap 10, maybe lap 15, if I just want to give a bit of grace to the drivers. But by the time we've got the first pit stops out the way, I think we'll be on the grid that we're expecting. We'll see what happens there.
I find that ambitious.
Ambitious, you say?
We're gonna be. I think we're gonna be waiting for a usual top 5 for at least the last third probably of the race. It's tough on the tires, and yeah, if people really want to fight it and help others out, especially a team intern, then that's gonna be huge. So especially if you can't get past into turn 1 or the chicane even, then you really need to follow closely and pay attention all the time. And then you get that nervous feeling about, like, if someone like, for example, Quincy, starting the furthest away from the top 4, stay inside of the mid pack, you're not gonna enjoy your rival run away basically, and then you have to find composure, and sometimes even with lap cars in previous iterations, and we don't have ghosting on, it's tough. So yeah, I'm interested to see interested to see how that stacks up, and I'm glad we haven't started our prediction game because I'm just gonna wait until we have the grid back together,
Yep.
and then we will be seeing who dares to dream for some drivers because there's gonna be upsets, I'm sure.
I have the most important question of all time for you, Herman.
Hit me.
I drive a Fiat 500. What is the perfect Pirelli tire for my Pirelli Fiat 500?
Probably the hard because it lasts the longest. I don't know.
Of course. Just so everybody is aware, I gave Herman some mandatory homework before the race, which he absolutely hates me for. As you can tell, his enthusiasm has matched it. It's called the 10 Hours of Suzuka from 2018. It's a half-hour highlight video from a channel called Bato Grande. We've been making a couple of references to that throughout bits and bobs of the evening, and we've just made the final one. So, anyway, just a bit of background for you. We do love the Suzuka circuit for its racing, but also it has a bit of a funny twist to it if you check out that video. But here we go. The countdown begins, and if you have just joined us for the first time this evening, I have decided to listen to the demons in my head. I have reversed the grid here in Suzuka, much to the delight of Truckster, who was on pole position after qualifying. And, he was very happy about it and said a word that I cannot really repeat on broadcasting. Of course, he meant it in a banterish way, so of course, it's not to be taken personally. But anyway, we are now currently loading in.
You sure?
I will. Let's say I believe that I believe that. I believe that I believe.
I don't
that.
want to throw trucks under the bus. Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, so obviously, and even, a few people are very unhappy. Moksha's unhappy. Pleasant Nick is unhappy. And of course, Suzuka, as you alluded to, Herman, it is tough to overtake around here. It's a very, very narrow track.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead with the screenshot you've taken of our predictions. So I will be looking at our.
So the screenshot. Do you want me to send them your way?
No, I'm just trying to use the data I recorded from the session.
Okay, so at the moment we've got Truckster in last with Pleasant Steak alongside of him, or Pleasant Steak will be in front this time. Energetic and then Race Chase. Oh my goodness me! I've also screwed over Race Chase. I've just realised. He's been screwed over. His best qualifyings are from when I've reversed the grid. So Race Chase, with his fantastic result, then gets his third screw up in a row. And of course, I think that's the same with Truckster as well. Oh my goodness. I'm realizing the full weight of what I have caused here, Herman, and I don't feel great, but hey ho, we're gonna deal with it. But anyway, let's get back onto the prediction game. I think we are going to see Rowley in the top 5 somewhere, but I don't think he's going to be the overall winner. I think our overall winner, I would have to say, is going to be Pleasant Snake. I think he is going to be the most realistic to get through the field. In second, that's where I'm a little more uncertain. I'm going to say Quincy for that one. And then I am going to say third will go to Moksha. Fourth place, Salvi. And then, who did I say was first? Sorry, again? Did I say Energetic or Snake?
You said Snake.
So I'll go Energetic fifth.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, who did you say for second?
Second would be Moksha, I think. I think I said Moksha.
Moksha and third.
Who did I say for second? I had Rowley in third, I think. Second even, sorry.
Okay, then.
Yeah, so I think Rowley's going to be second place.
Yeah, I'm going with Quincy taking this because of the starting position. Hopefully for him making early and fast ground, basically. And then Snake, Moksha, Salvi fourth, and Fellas in fifth. I think Energetic and Truckster will have a moment that costs them the race. Let's
see what happens. Anyway, we are now getting underway. And of course, if you're wondering what happens if you've just stepped away, well, if you've just come back, I have reversed the grid. We have Suribo in pole position with Skid Solo, I got there eventually, in second, with Kvachka in third, Rowley in fourth on the hards, Tarkangino in fifth, Toby in sixth, ADS in seventh, Quincy in eighth, ninth place is Moksha, oh, pardon me, 10th is Salvi, with fellow Sun in 11th. 12th will be Race Chase after qualifying 4th, and that's one of his best qualifyings in all of SSRL, right up until you know what. Energetic will be 13th, with Pleasant Snake in 14th, and Trugster, well, qualified pole, but he starts from the back in this reverse order grid. And, well, it is a Herman in terms of strategy. Most drivers going on the mediums, but a couple on the hards and one on the soft. Herman, that's certainly, well, it's certainly more of a divide, but only by 3 drivers. How do you think that's going to work out for them?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that so many could convert to one stop yesterday, because previous races just a couple of weeks ago, prior to yesterday, I feel like there was more in the or the possibility of a 2-stop was lurking there, but I don't know what changed. So yeah, I think Sebo's gonna be taking rather long hard stand or a second stop to his name, and other than that I only see overcuts basically for Rowley and Truckster, and the rest is trying to minimize rear tire slip and trying to make sure that they keep with the train, and that is obviously going to be helping for most of the straight parts inside of the second and third sector. And as we alluded to before, it's tough to overtake, and you need to be making sure that you're in the right position, getting right all of these exit at Spoon and the final chicane. As the first drivers have parked up, take it away, Dave.
Here we go. We're only a few moments away. It's really all down to Trugster, and when he lines up, and then as soon as that happens, it's only 3 or 4 seconds. 2 drivers will have stone cold tyres. Those are Suribo and ADS. They've been disqualified because of parking it wrong, but they will still be on the race start, but that's disqualification from the warm-up lap. But here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Japan, hardly any hold at all, and that is Kvachka there with a lightning start. He's already round the outside of the Alpine Aribo, so everybody just trying to sort themselves out. A bit of contact between an Alpine and an Aston Martin there. Oh my goodness me, Skid Solo 3 wide through the first corner. How have they got back into that? And now that is one of the Alpines off. Oh, that's an Alpine and an Aston Martin spun. That's Skid Solo, Suribo and Rowley. One of my top 5 is gone, but ADS and Quincy are up into the top 5 already. And there is Moksha, and there is Energetic on the gravel. And there's a severe collision with Rowley there. That is Skid Solo, 10-second penalty for him as Trugster has gone away from it all. And there is another off. Everybody unable to keep it on the black stuff as of right now. And I think there is even more drama at the back there. Trugster has also had a moment with one of the drivers there, but Energetic down to 11th. And Trugster up to 10th at the moment. And, well, it's been chaos, but Kvachka leads the way by 1.2 seconds. But Quincy hot on their heels with ADS also following in pursuit behind with Moksha in 5th there. Let's have a look at who are the biggest winners and losers as well. Didn't take long for Sir Ibo to fall down the field, and Rowley as well falls down the field. So my top 5 prediction for him is out the window, as now Salvi is about to be overtaken by Pleasant Snake. That's no real surprise, to be honest, between Salvi and Snake. The Aston Martin, the fastest driver, but what really keeping it in line through the Casio Triangle. Herman, I needed a bit of a breath there, but it was a chaotic first lap in quite a few areas of the field.
Moksha's about to try and overtake here on ADS, as he's trying to stay with Quincy, as he's one of the main rivals inside of this race, and he has not gotten the outside line to pass him. Trying the old switcheroo there and make contact, and Moksha's off again, the 4th car in 2 laps. And now Fellison is going to be by, and there's Pleasant Snake Salvi all through on Moksha, who just celebrated his birthday yesterday, not enjoying this party he got by Division 2 for tonight, and this slight contact with ADS, there was no right for him to take that lap, and now Fellison on the inside, trying to get by the Ferrari in this round. There's a slight contact again, and he's off into the green pits on the inside of Deckner 2, losing more positions, and ADS has done a complete top job in his truly impression from the early 2000s. There's no one can get by on the truly break in the Toyota that was racing before. Trucksters by an Energetic as tried to get by here inside of the second sector, and Fellison on Energetic is the next duel we are seeing inside of Spoon Curve. This is tricky to navigate, guys. Make sure you leave enough space. And there goes the Aston Martin, the Mercedes, pardon me. And there's another opportunity down this very long straight for Suzuka references. He's going into 130 on the inside, but the McLaren can't make it stick as an opportunity for Toby behind, who's currently in 12th position. He is watching this with delight. There's two battle. Usually the third one is the one to celebrate, as Quincy takes second place off of Tarkenjido and is close and closing in on Kovachka, who currently has taken completed the third lap in the lead in this race, as Pleasant Snake is by on ADS on this first attempt with DRS into the third lap. And we have seen plenty of moves and attempts so far. 5 people already off the track inside of the first 2 rounds, 2 laps on this track so far.
I understood that reference, but anyway, right now, fellow son of attempting a move which lets
Salvi is off.
Salvi is off as well, and oh goodness me, nearly rejoins unsafely. Truckster gets through 3 real estate.
3 positions loss.
A 3 position loss for the Haas driver there, who was looking so good in these first 2 rounds. Oh goodness me. And there we go, make that 4, as Herman rightfully said. But fellow son there trying a move which wasn't on there through the first Egner. That's not really known for an overtaking position. I've only ever seen it in another motorsport discipline, where in the Super GT, in the GT500 class, someone just went round the outside of Degner 1, got the move done, and there was no contact between them. That is, of course, very rare, and of course, Super GT, a completely different category of racing to Formula 1. But anyway, back on to current affairs. Pleasant Snake, as I predicted, chopping his way through the field. Quincy just sets the fastest lap, but not too long after, the Aston Martin follows suit. He's got DRS on the Mercedes in front. Tarkenjido going defensive into the first corner, but that outside line has been working for plenty of drivers in Division 1. Doesn't quite work this time around, as Moksha makes a move on the American driver up into 6th place there. Of course, had a moment a couple of laps ago. And now Moksha really is on a recovery drive, all things considered, but still in the top 10. Fellow son is the first to pit. He is on hard tyres. That's going to be a bit tight to go towards to the end there, to go to the end of the race, beg your pardon. And, he's just going to have to really hope for a safety car at this point, as now Sir Ibo makes a move. And he is now up into 12th place there. But, of course, Sir Ibo was your pole sitter in this unique reverse format, but at the hairpin, we're now observing the battle between a Mercedes and an Aston Martin. Pleasant Snake now is going to surely knock out another one, as Quincy's also catching up to the back, and now here we go, the Aston Martin wasting no time at all, side by side through there, bit of contact between them, but nothing egregious. Pleasant Snake up into 3rd place. He's now on the podium, as now surely there'll be a move coming here from one of these in the battle for 4th, well, battle for 3rd if you're being technical. We're going to approach 130R. Herman, over to you.
Energetic is trying to line up something. He is very close to Truckster, but there's no opportunity to pull alongside, and he's staying behind that Red Bull. That's currently one of the 3 drivers now that have opted for the hard tires. 2 have already swapped, including Skid Solo here at the back of the field. And there's a tank slapper by Energetic, almost going into the pit lane, and now Salvi's going to pounce on this, and he's going to take the position away. Still a bit side by side, and he's boxed in and takes over and is attacking Truckster into turn 1, backs out of it. There's another duel coming with Energetic again, outside line for the Mercedes, and he is not holding that position as of right now, and he's now ahead by the time they make it into the S section. That was quite close. So we had that double slipstream and obviously the DRS assistance there to get by on both, but then wasn't really truly committed to the inside line there. There's a very tricky braking zone, and usually doesn't really help if you're not clearly alongside going into it. So that was quite a nice attempt there, as a lot of lines have been forming at the exit of Degner 2, people going off into the gravel, and this is more shown inside of this year's game, as there was quite a late moment for Energetic going into the hairpin. ADS has had a good start. He's now obviously trying to manage the race with people behind, as we have a brief yellow for Seibo, who's inside of the first sector and lost it, as Quincy is now on the back of Kovachka, our current race leader, inside of the 5th lap. He's close to Williams ahead. He's not really making a move now. He's waiting for the DRS on the main straight. There's an easy pass, and obviously you gain a lot more time if you have that wing open on a track that only features one DRS zone, and there's like a 4/10 average decrease in your lap time if you can use it. He's using a lot of DRS. Kovačka is not giving up that easily, but he has nothing in his hands against that DRS assistance from the Ferrari, and he's now our new race leader as his teammate has now lost the position and is down to 7th against Race Chase, who was also in that fight and is trying to follow that train that is currently formed by Tak and Gino. As Pleasant Snake is 3.4 seconds away from the top two that are about to reach the end of the S section, and I'm interested to see where and whether people are trying to pull the first pit stop, because undercut overcut is very different, and I've seen people try and go longer to make sure that they have the better tire at the end. So let's see who is pulling the trigger first later inside of the stint, and it's gonna become sooner rather than later for pit stop. So yeah, good move by Quincy, good move by Race Chase, and Ferrari still looking strong right now, and I hope ADS can continue this one.
One thing that is surprising me at the moment is Energetic is unable to really make any moves. He had a bit of a tank slapper a couple of laps ago and just hasn't seemingly brought it under control. His tyres must be overheating, and he's just having to kind of weather the storm at this current moment in time. And of course, tyre temperature, if it increases, doesn't help the wear, as I'm sure you all know at this point. But Kovačka, you know what, hasn't even let Quincy go, to be honest with you. He's stayed within that 1 second bubble, and as they approach DRS zone, he's not going to be close enough to have a go by any means of the stretch, but this means that keeps Snake honest at 3 seconds. But Quincy, I think, is about to really check out at this current moment in time, so we're now going to have to look at this. Moksha is getting really close to that Mercedes around the outside before the turn. Slam dunk move there as finally Energetic can make a move, and he is up to 9th place there. So as soon as I curse him, he makes a move and proves me wrong there. So there we go. Your championship leader coming into tonight is now ahead of Salvi at the very least, but not where he would have been wants to have been fighting. But sadly, because of certain chaos, which I don't know who that could have been, who caused that, definitely wasn't me. He is currently fighting for positions only on the skirts of the top 10. At the moment, but we have been treated to an absolutely action-packed race so far, and Kovačka still hasn't let Quincy go. This is actually kind of becoming a much better race than I thought it would be for the Williams driver. He's still within that top 3. Is this our shock for tonight then? I wonder then, because Kovačka has driven oh so well, held the lead, and didn't fight Quincy when he had the chance to overtake. And that was really important there. They lost the least amount of time there, thanks to Kovačka not fighting. And now that he's got the slipstream down this straight, through 130R, I don't think he's... I don't think Quincy's going to be let go of. And in fact, he's increased the gap to Pleasant Snake. So Kovačka has a bit more race smarts than we've given him. Great stuff there. We usually see him outside of the top 10, but now, look at this. This is becoming one hell of a drive. He's kept it within 7/10. He is doing oh so well. But let's see what the American can do of Race Chasing the Racing Bulls. He's going to pull alongside Energetic's teammate Tak Gino and gets the move done, slots right back in. Herman, this is a fantastic and mature drive from Kovačka in the Williams. This is really, really good.
Yeah, well, we have pointed out over the seasons that, especially starting outside the top 10, he always finds a way to make his way into the top 10, especially if higher place drivers are struggling to finish races or have enough penalties to be demoted. He himself has sometimes some penalties and is early to get onto the list of driver with penalties, but yeah, he's just benefiting from that DRS. He was just trying to manage tires behind it, and obviously it helps to get away from a driver. He's now lost it by a second, but there's still a huge amount of lap left on this one, and the track is usually faster on this part. And if he's able to, maybe he chopped some wing off for the race and is trying to run the lower downforce config now, because we don't have a quali to go through, and we had a brand new session as Race Chase is off at Spoon Curve. That opens probably the door for Tak and Gino now, as he was quite skatey over the curbs there, and now the Mercedes is probably looking at an overtaking move into the chicane, maybe on the main straight. As Kovačka has now dropped back significantly by 2 seconds and is under pressure from Snake as Tak and Gino and Race Chase were side by side for a brief moment. And there's ADS close to that as well, but he is fighting against Truckstar. Small group here. Energetic is losing it, and ADS goes off as well. 2 positions almost gone away there inside of this little fighting group as Race Chase is looking to be close again to Takagino, but there's no overtaking opportunity, and Truckstar is now third inside of this train as Energetic has almost completely lost it, and ADS has dropped out of the DS. And as Salvi is onto another set of mediums, that suggests 2-stop, but I don't think that's going to be the fastest strategy, and he's going to be missing out on some crucial points if nothing major happens, and with that I mean obviously a safety car intervention or VSC that can jump your pit stop time down to roughly 10 to 11 seconds, which is very fast. I can't get any better than that, and obviously the fighting group for P5 continues for now as Takagino and Energetic, the 2 Mercedes cars.
Battle for second
for now. Pleasant Snake on the inside of Spoon Curve. Kovachka is fighting that back outside line, is strong, and you have a lot of grip there because that is usually the line, and they're side by side. Let's check with ERS. Double the percentage for Pleasant Snake, and he's using that slipstream to good effect. Hasn't made the pass, and Moksha's closing in. So Kovachka also playing the team gain alongside this 5-4, what is currently net second position, as no pit stops for the top 5 have come out of this stage, and now Pleasant Snake is in need to pass because Quincy is currently running away with it. 3.4 seconds. Aston Martin, who took the win last time out, is about to pass Kovachka and is into second position. Smoksha is close to running into the DS train of his teammate. There's Race Chess getting an overtake on Takagino, who needs to look in his rearview mirrors again because Truckstar's there on the outside, then has to back out of it, and almost gets in the way of Energetic, who was trying to see if there was an opportunity lining up. And obviously the hard tire is coming into fruition now because we've obviously reached a part of the race already where the tires have overcome the deficit of starting on the harder compound, but it is faster now as there's a spin by Rolly at the exit of the final turn, and he is using that to get into the pit lane. Very smart move. I don't think that's going to be anything to look at by the stewards. And now we have a new order for our top 5 group with Race Chase leading the way. Rolly has decided to call it a day. Tough race for him today, despite having the benefit of the reverse grid. There was a collision inside of our first lap tonight, as we've now almost concluded the end of the 10th lap. And Quincy's out there, but Pleasant Snake is hot on his heels.
We also have Moksha hot on the heels of his teammate. His teammate not under any orders, clearly, to let him by. Of course, we don't have any team orders officially here in SSRL, but no upsets for the top 3 as it stands right now as well. Takagino has just lost 2 positions at the background. We'll cut back to that in just a second. And Takagino has lost the rear end of that Mercedes going into Casio Triangle. And now we will cut away for just a brief moment. The battle for third has just hotted up, as now there is a very slow Alpine coming out of the first corner. Might have hindered Quincy for a moment there, but gets out the way. And 2.3 seconds, as Herman said. Pleasant Snake hot on the heels of the Ferrari in front now, but Moksha's through. Several cautions in Sector 1 for that slow-moving Alpine of Suribo, but of course everybody guaranteed points at this current moment in time, as now, thanks to pit stop, Salvi up into 9th place there. That's Takagino and Toby into the pits. 1 on the softs, Toby, and that is Takagino on the hards as well, as also Fellowson will go up into 10th place thanks to that. But at the moment now, we're still waiting for a couple of things. Kovachka locking up into the hairpin. Can Moksha maybe put a dent on Pleasant Snake here and catch up? I don't think that's going to happen based on the pace we've seen in the past there. Now, of course, for Energetic, he's been stuck behind traffic nearly all race long, and of course he's had a few mistakes here, so his progression up the field has been halted as of right now. Of course, I did predict him to finish in the top 5, and at the moment he is on course to do that, but needs to get past one last car, and he could probably catch up to Kovachka. I think he would be faster than the Williams in front there, but Williams having a good evening as of right now, of course, partially thanks to the reverse grid, as we keep alluding to. Trugster, who is, of course, on pole as well, currently in 7th. Looking at him, he's up 8 positions and still has a ways to go. He's on that hard tyre, so he's going to go longest in this stint, but Race Chase gets out of the way of Energetic. He will still have the benefit of DRS, but no dirty air in front. And now ADS and Truckster are probably about to do battle as ADS decides where does he want to go. Truckster gives him the inside line, and that is the Ferrari through into 6th place. Maybe trying to use the Ferrari, but the Ferrari gets it wrong in the middle of the corner, and they're going to go side by side. And Truckster, who actually had a bit of a collision with Babish last night and retiring at that very corner, has got through around the outside as Salvi now gets another position, but remember, Salvi is on the undercut and needs to stop again because he's not made a mandatory swap to another compound of tyres, so he would need to go on to the soft or the hard tyres as Energetic with a 3-second penalty for track limit violation. See, that's why he's got it wrong on the exit of Declan 2, and it's given Truckster free real estate, and these two go side by side. Truckster locks up into the hairpin, and now they're going to go side by side on the exit there. That could have ended in tears, and now they're still going to go side by side through this fast right-hander here, and and there's a more contact there, but Truckster slots in behind Energetic for now, and he keeps the place, but a massive time loss for the Mercedes driver, and now Truckster is going to try and go on the attack again. Herman, this is becoming a rather murderous race for the Mercedes driver, and he's just not making up he's not making the ground I thought he would, and now he's got a 3-second penalty to boot. It's not going well for the Mercedes.
Yeah, that was obviously quite a sketchy moment there, and he did well to keep it out. The top 4 are now in as Kovachka retakes the lead of the race. I was wondering when pit stops are coming in, and as soon as Quincy peered in, everyone else behind did as well. And Pleasant Sego was very late on the brakes, even gaining some time there, and I assume he will be. Yeah, that looks like truly under 1 second, and if he can warm up his tires properly, then there will be a fight soon, I imagine, because you want to get by on the driver that might disturb your stint with the dirty air you've alluded to at the start of the broadcast. And yeah, there is obviously a big shout now to ADS to get something back here. The overcut can work. You have barely any grip at this stage inside of this inside of these tires. There's no temperature, and something I just remembered is that Fallison had quite a lonely charge from the back into the points inside of season 5, where in Japan he had an early collision, a spin on lap 1, and then had to do an alternative strategy where he took the hards for a very long amount of time. Had to score some decent points at the end. Let's see if he can do that. Obviously looks like he needs to be making another stop, but I can feel that the tire advantage might be there, and there's a pass for the now lapped car of Saibo, as Quincy is still your leader if you discount obviously the top 3 still needing to pit, and Truckster is going to be the latest, I would assume. ADS should respond, and Kovachka is doing that, and now the Ferrari should do that as well, because they're going to be in that position or 4th position for that group we have seen before with Moksha, with Race Chase, Energetic, and there is another brief yellow for Saibo letting people by, and yeah, we can see that Pleasant Snake and Quincy are close to each other. Quincy is in need to defend that position, but has nothing in his hand to do so, and Pleasant Snake takes 2nd position on the first attempt there was, and he is looking like he's gonna be putting another trophy next to the one he acquired in Singapore, as he looks very racy. And I don't know what Quincy has been missing from yesterday, but Snake seems to be making a step up from last season. And obviously, if they are equal on missed races for this time, I think he's surely a higher contender, as Energetic is currently losing a lot of ground to these two, as he had not the race he's wanting for. And yeah, there are lots and lots of people stay in his side, and between the currently 2nd and 3rd place drivers in Pleasant Snake and Quincy.
Absolutely there, and Quincy, well, hasn't let Pleasant Snake go by any means of the stretch, but we're also focusing on the battle between Race Chase and Salvi, and it looks like Salvi's medium tyres are already used up. Of course, has been dropping down the order slowly each week. He got 4th place on the first round, got 5th place last week, and well, he's looking at 6th place for this week, but it's still rather good consistency from, of course, the Haas driver making his debut in SSRL this year. But Race Chase there is really trying to make up some progress himself. He's looked rather promising. He has said that he was upset with Rodwin, which is where I reversed the grid even then, and he was upset. It was back in Shanghai And, well, here we go. Before we come back to that, Quincy down the inside of the Aston Martin. Nowhere to go, though. Pleasant State just had more in his hands than the Ferrari did, as now Race Chase does make that move for 5th place. And he is now up into the top 5. And, well, has Moksha not too... Well, has got 4.2 seconds on Moksha there. Not sure if he'll be able to catch that up, as Moksha's usually been the faster of those two. But, of course, Moksha is now trying to get involved in that battle for what will be the lead of the race as soon as Trugster comes into the pits. Surely we're not too far away from his pit stop right now. Surely in the next couple of laps we'll see him come in. And then he'll have the overcut on these drivers. But will, I would say, drop in and around Energetic's point, to be honest with you. So he's going to have a lot of positions to make up once he gets out there. And Herman rightfully agreeing with me. And, well, we'll see what happens. But Moksha also is coming up the rear of the Ferrari here that we are currently observing. One of the closer battles on track. Of course, Energetic not too far away from Kovachka, but needs a 3-second buffer as soon as he gets past to make sure he is covered 7th place from his 3-second penalty. And then also has Salvi in front of him. But of course, Salvi needs to make a mandatory stop to go on to the next compounder tyre, whether that be the hard or soft there. And Trugster has now come in, but we are still focusing on this battle for what will be the lead of the race. And Moksha 1.7 seconds behind. So if these two start getting silly, he's going to be right there to take it away. Energetic makes a move at Casio on Kovachka, as now we're going to see some swaps for the lead. We'll cut back to that battle in just a moment. But Quincy down the inside couldn't quite make it work there as they used to aggressively go into turn 1. And Snake looked to have been thrown off by Quincy's move there. And, well, nowhere to go, as Energetic did in the end confirm 6th place there. He is now through on the Williams and has got Salvi in front now, and he should be easy to get past it. But Tarkin Gino has retired in the pit lane. He will go no further this evening. So what was 14 will now become 13. Of course, Rolly, your first retirement. By the way, just to give you a bit of context, Tarkin Gino does have a bad back, so I think that was the reason for him pulling out of last night's race, and that could be a very similar reason for tonight. Of course, we do wish Tarkin Gino all the best. Hope he gets better soon. But obviously, for the second night in a row, he will not finish this race. Did manage a 10th place finish last week, but obviously, as we all know, not going to be repeating that. But Quincy, again, focusing on this battle for the lead. One of the closer battles on track, unless if you count Energetic and Salvi. But as we've already said, needs that 3-second buffer. And, well, really, Energetic's best position is probably going to be 4th place. Once he gets past Race Chase, Salvi is 1.7 seconds away from the American driver. But Moksha has gained another half second on this lap, and he is 1.2 seconds going into the triangle away from these two. But here we go again. Quincy not with the best exit there from the final corner. Pleasant State just found something that the Ferrari couldn't find, and he'll have to just stay behind. But here's Energetic making a move, and he is up into 5th place there. And, well, Energetic now just needs to get past one more driver and then confirm the top 4. But at the moment, Herman, who has been the driver that has been really surprising you?
Well, so I'm surprised how consistent Snake is, honestly. His performance so far inside of the season has been so strong. Quick notice from Rolly has already retired from our race. Kid Solo and him had a contact. We saw that before. He was inside of the Discord right now saying that he apologized for he had more space and also hit Tarkin Gino. So I think most of the hits inside of that first couple of corners came from that reserve driver inside of the Alpine who will not finish the race, has retired from the race a couple of laps already ago. I'm looking at how Truckster maybe was out of shape. I was surprised how long people were running the medium tires, and I think Truckster missed the opportunity to maybe instantly respond to the last guy who was pitting for mediums, and that was obviously the group of Kovachka leading and then also ADS at that time in 3rd place. Doesn't really help you that the tires are going to be a bit more shredded, but he lost so many extra seconds that his tire won't be having inside of the last couple of laps. Even if he's catching, the hards will, I think, outlast the mediums quite significantly, as Snake takes the fastest lap now into his hands, and that is an extra point currently inside of for this race as well. So yeah, Truckster may be missing an opportunity. Obviously going to be faster for at least 7 or 8 laps. But the last couple of ones will be tougher, and then it's the question how well has he managed these rears, because they are struggling inside of that first sector, and you're trying to bring in the front end, and then you basically try to manage how much lip there is. And there was a brief yellow for Skid Solo getting out of the way of Energetic, Race Chase, and the group that is currently our top 6. And yeah, there's now Energetic a bit, he's losing time to Race Chase, but top 2 stayed closely together. Snake is about to be reaching that 1 second mark. That is very important, and Quincy is obviously keeping an eye on that, as ADS on his wave fresher tires is about to close in on Fallison, who has probably another pit stop to come his way, as these tires are gonna be shredded in a couple of laps time. And yeah, he's maybe onto another set of mediums to get something back, because there's a huge gap to Toby, and he's probably gonna be in 10th place anyway. So don't risk the puncher, play it safe, and we turn back to our attention to the top 2. Quincy is not close enough to get an overtake done on this lap. Snake does another faster lap, and Moksha's dropped back by roughly 2.7, 2.8, and the DS is helping Quincy to stay invulnerable to Moksha as of right now, because you don't have that extra pace inside of your ERS management for most of the time. So goodbye Quincy so far, and Kovachka goes by, and Truckster wants to get by on Salvi as well, and he does so using a bit of the green on the inside of the first two turns, and Truckster into 7th position, obviously probably eyeing out 5th position, with Energetic having an extra 3 seconds, so that's a nice buffer. Let's see if he can get to Race Chase. Other than that, I don't think top 3 is in the reach. But yeah, he has surprised us before. He has kept himself inside of the white lines for most of last season, and has improved significantly on that. Let's see how he can manage these tires for the next 8 laps.
Absolutely, of course, there'll be 8 to go at the line. It's at the moment 9 to go, but of course 8 at the line. I think Herman there, of course, just covering all his bases. And now, at the moment, we are seeing Truckster on the battle for 6th place here. Truckster, of course, who I would just need to remind you, started in pole position, but then as soon as a certain someone came on and said, we're reversing the grid, rather banterously unhappy about it, let's put it that way. Well, he's currently coming up to the back of Kovachka, and well, then he's only 3 seconds away, so maybe Energetic doesn't quite have this top 5 safe just yet. And well, it would be crucial points for Truckster regardless. And let's see what happens now. But now we're going to have to turn our attention to Quincy for a brief few moments, but still not close enough to have a go. Maybe Quincy just eyeing something up in the last couple of laps, as there's been an error for Sir Ibo there. Spun at the hairpin. We saw a few drivers do that last night, but now Salvi is making his final pit stop there onto the 2 stop, as now they go side by side. Kovachka not forced wide. He could have had more track there, but just went in a little too hot into turn 1, was probably distracted by the Red Bull, and well, Truckster is through into 6th place, and well, has free real estate on Energetic if he can find the time. Salvi coming out now, and he is on the soft tyre, so he's decided to go on to the soft tyre. Feels the 2 stop is faster, but this means this will be his worst finish within the first 3 rounds as things stand right now. Let's see what he can do. Keep an eye on him, as he's 17 seconds behind. No, I don't think he's going to go much further than that, to be honest with you. As ADS as well is also catching, but Quincy again still trying to bring down that gap. I wonder if he's just playing a sort of DRS chicken with the Aston Martin. And, well, it actually went beyond the white line there on the exit of Spoon. So I just wonder if that could be a warning added on to his penalty. Well, I say penalties, but a warning towards a penalty. There you go. I got there eventually. As now, here we go. This is the corner Quincy's always struggled on. Pleasant Sake is able to get a better exit here. You saw how the gap went from 0.3 to 0.5 there for a brief few moments, but Quincy much closer this time around. He's got the slipstream, but it's still not close enough. He just needs a better exit. Oh, goodness me. He's looking like he was going to go for the move there in the second part of that turn, but nowhere to go for the Ferrari at the moment. Let's have a look and let's see what his teammate can do. ADS here down the start finish straight. He will start lap 21 out of 27. Fellowson goes all the way to the inside. Does ADS have the straight line speed? He, of course, does. He'll have ERS in assistance and DRS in assistance. And, well, that's the move all said and done. And ADS up into 8th place now. And Truckster still trying to stay within that 3-second window to Energetic there. But Race Chase proving to be a doorstop in the Mercedes campaign to get past him and finish in the top 5. at the moment, though. But Herman, I think Quincy is beginning to run out of time. Do you think he's deliberately getting a worse exit to just make sure he stays behind and doesn't allow Moksha to catch up? Or do you think Quincy is just genuinely struggling to get past?
Not sure. I'm trying to look at his ES management out of the spoon curve and obviously on the main straight, and he is still pushing. Like, they're below 30% and he is still using. He's now pulling to the inside. 130 are surely not for the lead of the race, but Quincy has no room really to go on the inside. The line on the outside is just better. What about the chicane? Almost had that infamous Prost and Senna moment. Although the cars are very different from these days and obviously not the same car and constructor. Quincy's down to 5% ES. That isn't really helping him. I'm surprised he's using that much and not waiting for a final moment inside of maybe lap 25 or 26 to get on and into the lead at the start of 27, because after that it's just going to be harder. And if you give the car dirty air that hasn't been inside of dirty air for long, you get off of their rhythm, and Pleasant saying needs to be aware that that could still be happening. But Quincy isn't charging that much. Moksha hasn't gained anything because he's not inside of the DS train, and I think that's the same for Truckster currently. He has closed it down more, but there's still that thing that Race Chase is just being pulled along now, as they have swapped just recently, where there's no real opportunity to trying to manage your ERS and still be fast and getting inside of that 1 second window that is so crucial. But let's see if they fight too much. Race Chase is dropping a bit. That could change significantly soon. And Trucks had drivers evenly spaced out for him, so he had basically checkpoint to checkpoint in terms of DRS management, and that helped him obviously get closer to the top 4, top 5 even at this stage. So yeah, a couple of more laps to go, but yeah, he's gonna be, if he continues like that, is in that DRS window soon. Maybe even at the end of this straight now. No, that is too far, and he's not really pushing that. Let's see if Quincy, what is Quincy doing? 20% ERS. I'm keeping an eye on that. ERS is being used significantly here, so I'm surprised he is not lining that up as someone who's just pushing Snake to the outers at this stage. So full maximum push in order to stay with the top driver that is currently leading the race. And there was a mistake at the exit of 4, and now he's dropped it, and that is obviously not what he wanted. And he's going to be runnable to Moksha if he hasn't kept an eye on his tire. So let's see if that top 2 positions are going to be final like this at the end of the race. Obviously we need to keep an eye on Race Chase and Truckster soon if they continue to fight. Energetic and Race Chase, that is.
Also about, let's just, as there is a spin in the stake section, that is not Suribo, that's actually one of the Williams drivers. That's Kavachka, who's had a moment at Dunlop, and now approaching deck the rod. Is ADS approaching at a rate of knots? Kavachka has to avoid making contact, and in fact he's missing a front wing end plate for good measure. Fellow Sun also makes a position as the Williams of Kavachka, who had a really great drive in this first stint. It's all falling apart at this current moment in time. 5 laps to go. Of course, that will be 4 at the line, and Quincy is back within 1 second to Pleasant Stake, but he needs to keep it there, as he actually has done. So he will have DRS, as he was underneath a second at the detection point, which is that green dot on the exit of 130R. And Race Chase, of course, still within DRS of Energetic. So Energetic not pulling away from this, oh, wait a minute, there's been a moment, there has been a moment, and it's actually just, sorry, it's just Suribo just going wide, letting the cars through. How very generous of him.
How dare you, Dave?
How dare
just
I?
Getting all us hyped up about nothing.
I know, I'm so sorry. It happens to everybody. But here, Herman Quincy's now struggling. I think those tyres have fallen off for him, haven't they?
I think so. He was quite aggressive, as I said before. He was trying to maximize exits. Kovacic getting out. Huge downforce loss on the left-hand side. This is obviously not going to be helping. Most of the fast turns are left-hand side turns, so that isn't too bad. But yeah, I think Salvi's soft tires, I'm surprised he's on that medium soft strategy. Still might be in position to get him, as he's off again at Dunlop. And all of that understeer obviously kicking in, and he's just trying to survive. I think a pit stop would be even fine, because Toby is not in a position to be there. And even with a front ring change, anything that he loses is going to be 2 P10. So, and he's about to be inside of the last 4 laps, but hanging it out there for 4th, that is for 9th, that is probably going to be 10th anyway soon. It's a tough task, and Quincy back again at it. I'm surprised. I'm going to be asking about ES management and why he is doing what he's currently doing. Truckster's close to that 1 second, lost it again on the exit there. Wasn't quite that close, so Race Chase keeping it at distance, and obviously as of right now both of them are benefiting from Energetic's 3-second time penalty, so he is in need, or probably is praying that they're gonna be fighting soon, but with that DRS assistance that is not available for Truckster right now. It's now Kovačka finally makes it to the pits after going around to check 1 extra lap. He's opting for new tires and a wing, obviously, and I think Quincy is still managing. I think Snake isn't as fast as we probably assumed now. You should just
Quincy!
Get it back. Quincy is just doing Tokyo drift at the exit of the happen, despite us not being in that particular part of Japan. And that is surely not good to your rears, as they look quite in bad shape already from the outside. There's some stage of the tires that doesn't even look good from the spectator views, and you barely even see the profile while the cars go by on what is roughly 340 kph at some stages of this track, especially if you use a lot of ES and the DS assistant. And he is back again in the DS. Bad entry into the chicane, but still with Snake, and that is obviously all beneficial to his 2nd place position, because Moksha is not gonna get these positions back if Quincy keeps it on the racetrack, obviously.
Yeah, Quincy's really on the limit now. 2 laps to go. 7.2 miles for either Pleasant Snake or Quincy. Maybe Moksha, if there is a bit of drama. There has been some drama at the back, but I think that is just for Sir Ibo to allow some traffic through, and indeed it is. So he's parked it on Casio. Yet again, has allowed some drivers through. Another yellow flag, short-lived though, so we continue racing as we were. But of course, no VSC or safety car at this current moment. Quincy's just set his personal best in Sector 1. And, well, is the charge finally coming? All these mistakes, is it finally going to amount to something? Because he will only have 1 shot, 1 opportunity. Does he take it? Or does he release it away? No reference to anything in particular. And now he is coming to spoon curve. He is still within that half. Well, he's just over that half second now. He looks to be locked in. He is currently getting ready for that 1 move that he could do. He needs to get that chicane right of Casio Triangle. But is he waiting for another opportunity? Is he going to try it through 130R again? Not close enough to do so. Does Quincy just settle down this time around? He indeed does. Has a bit of a moment on the brakes, but this is a lot better already. The Ferrari looks like it was better, but that Aston again gets away on the traction. Let's see. Half a second as he comes to the DRS zone. Snake knows he's under pressure. He goes all the way to the right-hand side. 3.6 miles for these 2 drivers. Quincy will not be close enough, but he sets to the outside into the corner 1, but nowhere to go, and I think that might be it. Unless if Quincy is setting up for another moment at 130R, but I think that might be the ghost for Quincy, as Race Chase also has stayed with Energetic as well. So Energetic will say goodbye to his 4th place. He'll be relegated to 6th, as Truckster is also within that 3-second window to the Mercedes in 4th there. So Truckster will recover to a top 5 as of right now, but at the moment these leaders are the closest battle on track as of right now. Half a lap to go, and Quincy's really made a mess of the hairpin there. Went wide on the entry, but on the exit, has he actually gone and got the momentum there? Well, he's recovered that 4/10 back, as there's a brief yellow flag there again for the lapped car of Sir Ibo. So he's about, I think, 2 laps down on these 2, but let's see. There's 1 more straight here, and Quincy not really close enough. He's going to have the mega exit from Casio. If he can make this work, let's go on board with the Ferrari driver through 130R. I think that is it. He is not even gaining on the Aston Martin. So Pleasant Snake is currently on. Going to be... Oh, I thought he was going to mess up the Casio there, but he did not. Pleasant Snake held off the pressure from Quincy to take the win here in Suzuka. He wins the Grand Prix of Japan, and Moksha will come home an impressive third place. Energetic will lose his position as he has a 3-second post-race penalty. Race Chase to 4th, Drugster to 5th, and then Energetic will solidify 6th place there. ADS is now just coming to the Casio triangle now, and finally put some points on the board for the Ferrari team. They will be very happy with his performance indeed. 7th place for ADS. Fellow Son will eventually come home in 8th. Salvi, well, it's his worst finish at the moment in Division 2. 4th place in round 1, 5th place in round 2, but 9th place in round 3. And then Kovachka has no front wing. No front wing for the Williams. I don't know.
Sorry, you lost it again instead of turn 3, and then later again, and Toby is catching him. Huge shout out to Fellison for making 24 laps on these hards, just doing his best Season 5 impression when he had that crash on lap 1. Didn't have to do all 26 this time, but surely one of the best drives he probably would have had. Is Toby going for that on the inside? No, just waiting if Kovachka has one more lockup, or if his exit is better because there's no turn-in. And there's, I think, enough. Yeah, the line comes early as you like, and Toby cannot pounce on that mistake. Kovachka made, obviously, losing a lot of his good first stint, but hats off to Fellison. Great drive. Also, ADS finally lead those points on the board. And as I said, there was plenty of times where you were still waiting for that top 5 to form, but we have seen these two at the front again. Quincy, his third second place finish, as there's another trophy to be taken home in our little Asia tour that was now previously Singapore and now Japan, as we head to the United States in 7 days' time.
We'll be looking forward to that one. Of course, Circuit of the Americas is going to be the first of our 3 visits to the States, with Las Vegas coming later in the season, and then Miami will either round off the season or be the penultimate race. But at the moment, Pleasant Snake proves why he's best of the rest for another week. Your accolades: well, race winner, fastest lap, driver of the day, and cleanest driver goes to Pleasant Snake, and most overtakes goes to Race Chase, even though I would argue that that should also go to Pleasant Snake, but then again, I can understand why that went. But your unofficial results coming out of Japan, your top 3, Pleasant Snake, Quincy, and Moksha, followed by 4th and 5th with Race Chase and Trugster, respectively. From 6th to 10th is Energetic, ADS, Fellow Son, Salvi, and Kovachka. Then 11th to 15th is Toby, Skid Solo, Suribo, Tarkangino, and Rolly. And that is the only 2 non-finishers as well are Tarkangino and Rolly, as they retired in the pit lane, so no intervention required from race control. But in the end, we had quite the exciting finale. Finale? No. We had quite the exciting final few laps there. Of course, that battle between Quincy and Pleasant Snake, and of course, I'm sure Quincy will come under scrutiny from you, as you alluded to earlier on while we were watching that. And, in the end, Pleasant Snake goes from all the way to the back, all the way to the front. And again, a driver of the day drive from Snake. But anyway, listen, Herman, it's now your podium interviews. Take it away.
Herman, just a quick one. Let me interject. I need to run to work, so can I go first and then I will disappear?
Yeah, obviously, sure. We can obviously arrange that. So, yeah, Quincy, that is your first, second place in a row inside of the season. You've been consistent, but that final stint was obviously so close and obviously very tense there to see that you had quite the lead early on. Then there was a nice fight, and you were, obviously staying at the rear wing of the Aston Martin. One thing I was trying to see and understand and would like your insights now is, why didn't you fully charge the battery, stay with Pleasant Snake for some laps, and then try attack once or twice in a couple of laps at the end? Because it seems like you were pushing all of the time and obviously using all of the ERS you had said inside of the first sector. What was the strategy behind that to get maybe maybe a mistake from Snake out? What was the inside thought there for you?
I couldn't catch him. I really couldn't. He was super, super quick today. My only regret is making a mistake into the pits where the bloody clutch didn't release and I lost a few tenths there, which would have helped me. And then I got impeded by the Alpine. So that sort of secured Snake's overtake. He was a faster driver today. It was going to be hard to keep him behind. I felt like if I was in front, I could have controlled it a little bit more, but obviously due to the overtake that I had to do on the Alpine, that cost me the place. And then from then on, it was just about trying to stay as close as possible to his rear wing, because I knew if I got within 6 tenths to 7 tenths, he would be gone, because the dirty air there is much worse than it is if you were 2 to 3 tenths behind. So I tried to stick as close as possible. And to do that, I needed to use a lot of battery. It was very, very hard. I think one time when I did try to have like a reserved lap where I would go a little bit slower, save the battery, I lost DRS to him. So it was literally just pressure him to see if he'll make a mistake. I noticed he was always going a bit risky on the Degners. So I thought if I pushed him into there, maybe he'll make a mistake and hopefully get caught on the curb. It didn't happen. He had a few mistakes out of the hairpin as well. I felt like I had more traction there, as well as in spoon. I feel like I was at least a tenth or two faster than him in spoon curve, coming out of spoon curve. So he's just a better guy this evening, this season as well. He's driving phenomenally. It's always good battle. I had to deafen the Discord just to remain focused, not to make any mistakes. But it was genuinely the most, not chaotic, what's the word? Intense laps I've ever raced for so far this year.
Obviously, you had quite an advantage. Most of the guys starting back, especially two rivals, Energetic and Snake, then obviously made quite a good charge at the start. Were you struggling overall to keep tires alive? Because we've seen later stops. That was quite surprising for me. On the other hand, how did you manage these tires while trying to obviously put pressure?
I didn't pay attention to the tires, to be honest with you. They felt good all the way through the stint. There were some bits coming out of the S's where the dirty air was providing me difficulty. So I had to try different lines going through the S's at points so I can remain sort of close. But overall, I think the tire wear felt a lot better than it did last night. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the cars. I don't know if it's just the temperature, the track temp. But if overall the tires felt a whole lot better than yesterday. Yesterday they just completely died within a couple of laps, but they seem to hold together today.
Obviously, you've been close to victory. I noticed from private talks that you don't like our next track. There's going to be a quota. How do you plan on making sure that you maybe stay inside of the top three as you have done all season so far?
I think out of all the tracks coming up, I think Kota is my biggest no-no. As well as Mexico just after. I'll just try my best. And somehow, hopefully, I'll be up there. If not, no harm. I've got good tracks coming up also with Brazil, with Imola, Qatar, some of my good tracks, as well as Miami for the full qualifying later on in the season. I think I'll do very well there. So I'm not too worried about Kota. I'm just going to try and get as high up as I can.
All right, thank you. And congrats again on your second place tonight.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, moving on to our race winner. That is obviously Pleasant Snake. Back-to-back race victories. You had some work on your hands for tonight as Dave has cheekily reversed the grid for tonight. You were starting on the last row and made some progress early on. Obviously, a huge crash inside of turn 3 where you survived. And obviously, as soon as the pit stops came, you were already in that second position. How did you manage to pull off these moves? It's a tough track to overtake on. There's barely any overtaking opportunities. Maybe into that chicane. How was your race from your side? Give us a brief insight, please.
Yes, lap 1 was I was really happy with how lap 1 turned out. It was like, as you said, incident in turn 3 where I managed to just sneak past some guys and of course avoid the collision. And then I think also later in the I don't remember if I managed some more in the first lap, but I got quite a few positions at least the first lap. Was very happy with that, and also my setup was was running quite low wings, so I'm quite happy for that because it helped me with some overtakes. I really felt like I had a lot quicker top speed than some at least, because I managed think I managed to overtake with a gap of 6 tenths or something out of the last corner. So or 6 or 7 tenths, I can't remember. So yeah, and yeah, after I had managed to catch up with Quincy, of course he had I saw he was had some trouble passing some blue or the Alpine. So yeah, he lost a bit of time there. But I think I would have managed to catch him anyways. I was catching at that point. Felt like I was catching him in quite good race. I was just like not trying to overpush it at that moment, and because I saw the time was coming down, and was thinking to go for a push like all the just before the pit stops. But yeah, and after the pit stop, it's yeah one of my most intense stints ever. It was so hard, like because Quincy was pushing all of the time, so I had to like push the whole stint, and yeah, it was it was a good stint. I'm happy with that.
Obviously, a bit of unknown was to me previously that the tires and how they managed to maybe change a lot of deck inside of this year's game was how much you can actually keep your tires alive if you're close to someone ahead and you had obviously many cars to go through. Was a lot easier in terms of that because you were most of the time the leading car. But did you manage to find things inside of the race from stint 1 to 2 that even improved the inside of the track, or did you just feel comfortable on both tires and obviously pushing them to the end without any trouble on the tire wear?
I felt quite comfortable on both of the tires, I think, but in middle of the hard stint, the hard tires felt really good, I think, and also I was a bit cautious at the Degnas early in the race, but like after the race progressed, I like tried to just push a bit more and more, and like I think I found almost the limit at least. So that was one of the places I managed to like get a few tenths on Quincy. But the hairpin, that's normally it's been really good for me, but I was struggling with it the whole race. And I had a few lockups going into it as well, so I lost a bit there.
Yeah, obviously you held through. Next time we're gonna be at Kota. What is your overall feeling for that track, and how do you see your pace coming? You have stated yourself there's not a lot of practice time, but you're still keeping quite honest with these guys, taking obviously the lead of the championship now with Energetic, only finishing sixth, and Quincy is second again behind you. So what's your expectations for Kota?
Kota, I'm not so sure yet. I hope I will get some practice in because I've not driven that much on Kota, but I think it used to be one of my strong tracks, so I'm not sure what will happen. I hope it still is. I I think I'll get in at least a bit of practice now, but yeah, the hopes
All
are
right.
there, but we will see.
Yeah, we will see next time out. Congratulations again on the P1, and obviously interested to see if you can make it 3 in a row next time out.
Yes, thank you.
All right, moving to third position, and that is tonight's Moksha. Obviously, a belated birthday present to yourself after a good qualifying session. Reverted on the grid here by Dave, and then you made quite a nice charge early on, kept out of trouble, was probably the second fastest guy behind Quincy. Then obviously Snake got by. These two were fighting at the front. Really, no chance to get into the DS train, but managed to have every move on the way set correct, and then you finish in a strong third position. What is the overall verdict on tonight's race for you?
Yeah, I think it was a good race. Was a good quali, exceptionally in the season. I was happy with the start. Kept out of trouble, as you said, but then had a little incident with ADS, which shoved me wide in the S's, and then I lost like 4 or 5 positions. I don't know, like many, and then I could charge a bit through the field really fast, and after the pit stops, I lost a bit time on the outlap, and then it wasn't possible to catch the DRS train. I was steadily on low battery, and just managing in the end. Don't letting Race Chase and Energetic come too close, and just finish on third. That was a goal, and in the end, good race.
Yeah, obviously some some incidences ahead at the first time. How did you see that from your side? Were you close to anyone else apart from that AES one? And how do you feel the tires were working to yesterday's race? Because you had some troubles into the hairpin. We saw you go off twice as well. So anything you changed on the setup? Anything you maybe used into us having a new lobby, maybe lowering the wings for a full dry race? What was your strategy after yesterday's conclusion?
No, I had exactly the same setup. I was actually driving more cautious. Especially there in the hairpin, I was braking cautious maybe a little bit earlier than I would in a hot lap. Then I just drove cautiously and kept it on track. That was the main reason and main goal for the race.
Yeah, obviously there's our next race coming up soon. It's going to be Kota. How do you fancy your chances at the tracks circuit of the Americas?
It's one of my worst, to be honest. I don't like. I like this track to drive, but I never had the pace there, and I think it didn't change till then, till the last race, and just keeping some points for the team and having fun battles. That's the main goal this season, because my quality pace is always bad, and I cannot keep up that many positions in the normal race. So yeah.
All right, looking forward to what will be produced by you and Williams next time out. And obviously congrats again on P3. See you next time.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that has been the conclusion of tonight's Japanese Grand Prix for Division 2. Dave, we have seen once again a nice fight between our top twos. Energetic a bit left out after his early season W inside of Azerbaijan. He's now a bit on the back foot, but still one of our stronger drivers. I hope to see him back in the fight for Kota, and obviously we need to keep an eye on how well Quincy can do some damage limitation. What is your biggest takeaway from tonight's race?
Well, obviously, I think that's kind of taken the words out of my mouth. I think Energetic being on the back foot there is going to be rather... He's going to need a race of recovery, and he's going to have to hope for some bad luck to come across the top two of Quincy and Pleasant Snake. And Quincy as well needs to somehow find that step up. He was just so close to overtaking for so many laps. And, of course, as he said, issues with the clutch in the pit lane were what caused him to lose that position to Snake in the first place as well, and then just couldn't get it back. So Quincy needs to find that step up if we're going to have the championship go on to the final round. But otherwise, it's the second place in a row for Quincy, so consistency is game at the moment, and that does get you far. But at the moment, I would say that the ball is very much in Snake's court. It's certainly his championship to lose based on these first 3 rounds. We'll see if Energetic or even Quincy can catch up. And also, of course, one would to look out for tonight, or so I thought. Salvi, of course, not really anywhere near the top 5 this time. So that's his worst finish. But for Moksha as well, great climb up through the field for him as well. Race Chase actually got back to where he qualified. So really no loss for Race Chase either. I think that is his best finish for Season 7 so far. So... going from strength to strength is Race Chase as well, so we still have plenty to look forward to, and I'm really excited for what Kota brings in both Division 1 and Division 2. But Herman, I think that's going to wrap it up. Well, I don't really have much else to say. Herman, anything the last things you want to say before we sign off for tonight?
Yeah, it's going to be full weight qualifying again. The mandatory use of the full weight tire is going to be in place for Kota, and we're going to be having interesting battles throughout. Obviously, 2 very different sectors, and that one with the long air straight on the back straight. So we're going to be seeing interesting lineups, and obviously tires are going to be a topic as well, as there's a lot of punishment taken through that first and third sector. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to next week. Thank you again, so I could join you on this pleasant, at least better commentary on what we've seen from another Dave instead of a 2018 Suzuka commentary. So that is my final reference for the night. See you next time and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Absolutely, Herman. Great to have you. Thank you for doing your homework and understanding those references. And see you next week as well.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. All right, chat. Well, if you do want to wonder what we were talking about, I will just leave a quick link to the commentary we were referencing tonight. Of course, let's see. Hang on. I'll just dig it out for you. I'll pop it in the chat just before I do sign off. I will try my best to remember to pop it in the YouTube chat as well when this goes to hopefully YouTube on the same night. But of course, that is the commentary if you want to understand some of our references from tonight. But overall, well, Pleasant Snake taking a second win in a row, and well, just based on his form, he is really, really looking good. And that's, of course, his third top three. That's his third top three in a row. 3 rounds in the top 3. Round 1, of course, was third place, and then, of course, converting Paul to first in last week's race, and then, of course, from second place going to the back and then taking the win. What a drive from Snake again, certainly proving he is best of the rest in Division 2. Of course, just as a reminder, next week we are off to the Circuit of the Americas. Austin, Texas is where we'll be. Division 1, always on a Monday, 7:30 p.m. BST, and that'll be our last, I think that is our last races in that time zone. Let me just double check. Because, of course, we will be going, I think we're going back. Let me just have a quick look. So, yes, that'll be our last races in BST. We will then going on to Greenwich Mean Time from that week going forwards for the rest of the season. But otherwise, that has been all from me and Herman. And we do hope to see you next week. Of course, drop a follow on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/GDave11. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel as well if you're watching from there. You can watch these races live Monday and Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. BST, which will become GMT from the 26th of October. But until then, from wherever you may be in the world, wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. See you next week. Bye for now.